following is a paid program. The views expressed are not necessarily those of the management or ownership of Score North, KSTP AM 1500.
This is the place to talk about everything related to the home, buying or selling real estate, financing and improvements that can help increase your home's value. This is Minnesota Home Talk on Score North. Here's your host, Jason Walgrave.
Good morning, folks, and welcome back. This is Minnesota Home Talk, and we're live on 1500 Score North. We are the original real estate show on AM 1500 radio. We've been on the air now for 85 years, and we've done 5 million live shows, all new and exciting content every single episode. Yep. Evan, would you like to verify that information is... Oh, did I go? I'm back. I'm here. There we go.
Gotta turn your mic on. Sorry, there's a mix up in the mics in the studio.
I feel like before the show started, Evan specifically said, "I will turn your mic on."
I was talking about them.
Oh, you were okay. That was.
Yeah, he's not gonna do anything for you.
No. That's not how this works.
It's not. All right, folks, we're live every Saturday morning, of course, on demand at MinnesotaHometalk.com. I'm your host, Jason Walgrave with Walgrave Real Estate Group and the Minnesota Real Estate Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus. Also in studio, we've got Steve De La Roseby. I was trying to say it more Frenchish.
I appreciate
that. But we'll see.
Please
and
butcher my name.
Please speak into the mic when you
right,
retort.
French Canadian, right? Isn't that what you said? French Canadian?
I am.
All right. So there we go. We have new to the studio, first time ever, Jackie Tavis.
Good morning.
Good morning. Great to have you with Flourish Wellness.
Yep.
That is your company. So we're going to be talking about how testosterone is affecting the housing market in the Twin Cities.
Yep.
Of course, we have Mortgage Michael Overson. It's getting better, isn't it?
That's really good. Yeah.
It's getting better.
I've been practicing.
Yeah, you're like Robin Williams.
One of these days, he's just going to blow out his voice.
Yes.
I'm waiting for his voice to crack one of these days.
Yeah.
He's in the middle of it.
No, yeah, and then it's not going to be the same for months afterwards. He's going to be hosting the show like, I'm just Walgrave. The Walgrave Real Estate Team.
No, I'm gonna do Batman. That's the voice I want. The Batman voice.
Where are the listings? Hot listings.
That was more like Macho Man Randy Savage, but we've got to get Nick Selly on our team on the show. He does a good Macho Man impression.
Yeah. Yep.
Really good.
I agree with that.
Evan, of course, is our great producer and insurance expert with Paragon. So, folks, if you have real estate questions this morning, questions about your health and wellness, questions about testosterone, we would love to hear from you. Jackie Tavis is in. She'll be in throughout the show answering questions related to that. And we're going to jump in more with her and Steve at about 7:20. But we're going to start off with opening up the phone lines. If you'd like to go to Timberwolves game, we've got a pair of tickets for Tuesday's playoff game. The best real estate or health and wellness question is going to win those tickets. The phone lines are open at 651-647-2910. That is the call number to the studio. We'll keep the studio lines open throughout the show. Give us a call with anything and everything real estate related. Whether you're thinking about buying, selling, investing in real estate, questions about credit, home improvement, new construction, commercial properties, development, land, anything and everything real estate related, give us a call at 651-647-2910. That is the call number to the studio. We'll keep that open throughout the show. 651. Give us a call, folks. It's 651-647-2910. We also have a text line. You can win Timberwolves tickets by texting your questions to 763-443-5664. The text line again to win Timberwolves tickets is 763-443-5664. All right, let's jump into smoking hot listings.
Smoking hot
listings. I'm going to go through the list and then that is not the order that I sent.
This will be fun then.
That's all right. I can see it up there. All right, we're going to start in Cottage Grove. Brand new listing. It is located at 8063 64th Street South in Cottage Grove. 1,381 square feet. 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 2 car garage. This property is on the market as a townhome, a 4-corner quad townhome, on the market for $375,000. I think this went live yesterday. We've got
Nice, pretty kitchen on that one.
That is a nice one. Let's go to Nicollet.
Yep.
12990 Nicollet Avenue, number 202. This is a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 1-car garage, 1970 built, 675 square feet. Steve, tell us about this one. This is your listing.
It's in a great location, super convenient location right off Burnsville Parkway. Great amenities inside the building. It's got a weight room. It's got 2 pools, an indoor and an outdoor pool. It's got a community room that you can use for parties and things like that. It's a nice, clean little unit. It backs up to the edge of the property, the wooded edge of the property too. So you got no neighbors staring in your window. It's a nice private little balcony. It's a cute little place.
And it's priced really well at $100,000. Well, they don't make them.
I didn't say it
this
was going to
is-
sell for 100.
This is built in 1970. They don't make them anymore.
Yeah, this is that's great. Got a sauna in there too. I see.
It does.
Nice.
Yeah, it's right. This complex is behind the old Benchwarmer Bob's,
Oh yeah.
which is now like a Mexican. So I mean, fantastic Mexican food right there that you can just stumble home from.
Yeah.
Jensen's Cafe
Taco
is over
Tuesday?
there.
Yep, Jensen's Cafe
Yeah,
is over
Taco
there
Tuesday.
too.
So and they got a lot of new development going on in that Nicollet, that area over there. So it's nice. Close
Super
to
convenient,
downtown.
close to groceries, close to everything. I mean, it's a super convenient little location.
Close to Burger King, Overson. That's your favorite
Yes.
restaurant.
Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen. An investment opportunity we have up in Aiken, Minnesota, North Shores of Mille Lacs, located at 39629 State Highway 18 in Aiken, Minnesota. Docks Harbor, folks, is for sale. 32 RV sites, 26 boat slips, the lodge. This property has opportunity for expansion. It sits on over 4 acres, and it is on the North Shores of Mille Lacs. It's on the market for $2.5 million. Moving to Egan. This one is coming soon, comes live on the market on the 11th. So what day is that? Monday? Monday, this property comes live. It is a 2-story with 1,374 square feet, 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2-car garage. This home is in Egan, again, located at 4118 Pennsylvania Avenue, on the market for $379,000, live on Monday. Moving to Savage. Pebble Creek Custom Homes has a couple lots left in the Twin Ponds development. The lot 1 is priced at $110,000. It's a 0.64 acre lot. They have a corner lot for sale as well for $145,000. They have a to-be built in this development on Sumner Avenue. It is a 2,400 square foot foundation Rambler, 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom. Custom finishings, millwork, and design throughout. This home is on the market for $995,000.
You know what I say? Worst thing about this house is that I don't own it.
This is one of my favorite
It's
design
just
floor plans.
My favorite
Stunning.
My favorite Pebble Creek house right here.
Yep, it's gorgeous. Opportunity, folks, to make any changes to those designs as well. Moving over to Edina in the Galleria, located at 3209 Galleria number 807. Spectacular skyline views in this luxury condo. It has 865 square feet, 1-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-car garage right across the street from the mall. Fantastic location in Edina. This property has been fully renovated, brand new kitchen, bathrooms, and it is absolutely spectacular. On the market for $650,000. We're going to go up to Duluth now. We've got an investment opportunity, a commercial property with 30,000 square feet, a total of 5 units. It's located at 327 West First Street in Duluth. It is on the market for $1.75 million. Again, located at 327 West First Street in Duluth, Minnesota. I love Duluth.
We should all move to Duluth.
Duluth is great.
Let's do it.
They have a tremendous amount of hiking up there.
You know, that's my home neck of the woods, right?
It was Dokauer, right? You and Dokauer are up from there.
Well,
right?
yeah. So yeah, he actually he went to Duluth Denfeld. I grew up in Cloquet, but we were high school
Rivals.
competitors, right?
Yeah.
Yes, high school sweethearts.
Well, that's so nice. You and Paul. All right. We've got Hopefully Paul's listening. God, I love giving him a hard time.
Sims Court.
Sims Court in Prior Lake, Minnesota. This is a 9-lot cul-de-sac development. All half-acre walkout lots surrounded by 12 acres of preserved non-buildable land. So it's a very private development. And we've got lots ranging from 135,000 to 175,000. I believe there are 3 lots left in this development. Pebble Creek has a to be built in there as well with 2,941 square feet above ground, 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom. This home is priced at $950,000. We've got one of the coolest and most exciting properties that we've marketed is in Red Wing, Minnesota. It is located at 27858 Greens Point Road. It is a pagoda style. This property sits on 1 acre and has 425 feet of shoreline. Tremendous beach. It's out on the point, so your views are quite spectacular. It's a really, really cool property. So whether redevelopment or remodel of the existing property, we had a call from a potential buyer this week that was asking about VRBO, and they're looking at it for that potentially. So it's a really cool property.
So I've been in that one twice, right?
Yes,
I've shown that one twice, and it is the coolest location on Lake Pepin. It is. It's really close to the channel where the boats, the big boats go through and stuff. It's a really cool location.
It's interesting because the gentleman that built it, I think it was built in 1920 or 1930. He brought the blueprints. He was in Asia for 5 or 10 years. Brought the blueprints back from Asia and built the home. So, I mean, I haven't seen a home like this in Minnesota before. So it's pretty cool.
No, there can't. That's the one.
That's the only one.
The only
Probably
one.
in the whole Midwest. 1929 built, looks like. So, folks, for more information about these smoking hot listings, you can go to our website, minnesotahometalk.com. Click on the property search button. You can connect with all our fantastic partners. You can connect with, of course, Mike Overson for all of your financing needs. We've got upcoming events, our past shows, our schedule, free market analysis. So if you're interested in your home's value, we'll do a free CMA for you as well. Go to minnesotahometalk.com.
You can let me throw one more in there?
Let's hear it.
So I've got one more off market.
Oh, yes.
Awesome location, about 2 blocks north of Minnehaha Parkway. So cute little bungalow, small house, 2 beds, 1 bath. Kitchen's redone though. It's really the cutest little house, and it's just like I said, right off Minnehaha Parkway. You don't find too many houses for $340,000 in that area.
Wow, that's what's priced at $340.
$340.
Wow.
Coming to the market pretty soon, but if you're interested, give me a call directly.
We can get you guys in there before it hits the market live. Steve will set you up.
Exactly.
All right, folks, we got the phone lines open. If you'd like to win Timberwolves tickets this morning to Tuesday's playoff game, we're giving away a pair of tickets for the best real estate question or health and wellness question. Give us a call. The studio lines are open at 651-647-2910. The studio lines are open. Give us a call if you'd like to win Timberwolves tickets. Get your real estate questions answered, your health and wellness questions answered. How's your testosterone level? That's a question that I'm asking you folks. How is it? Give us a call. Let's talk about it. 651-647-2910. We also have a text line. You can text your questions to win that way as well. Anything and everything real estate related, health and wellness related, give us a text question to 763-443-5664. The text line again is 763-443-5664. All right, we are going to go through top 10 reasons to buy a home in 2022. We're going to go through it rather quickly. Steve, Mike, love to, and then we're going to jump into our guest this morning. 10 reasons to buy a home in 2022. You can get a good deal is number one. Now, what does that mean? Can you get a good deal in regard as when you're talking about price or when you're talking about rent versus own? It is still cheaper to buy a house than it is to rent a house. And there are a lot more options out there to buy than there are to rent. I think the rental vacancy rates are less than 1% right now.
Yeah. What else does it mean? Everyone's going to be like, well, it was cheaper to buy last year than this year. Well, the problem there is that we don't have a hot tub time machine where we can go back in time and buy a house last year.
Right.
Right. So then
You don't?
I don't. Do you?
Yes.
So the question there is when you can get a good deal, so then the comparison is what does it look like to buy today? Or let's say you're going to sign another year lease and you're going to buy next year,
Mhm.
right? The deal is today then because everyone in this room has agreed that home prices will continue to go up. So
Mhm.
even though interest rates are creeping up, home prices will continue to go up. And now if rates are higher too next year at this time versus now, it's kind of a double whammy.
Yeah.
So when you can get a good deal, that's comparing now versus buying, next
A
year.
year from now. And we run that comparison on the cost of waiting, and it's significant. I mean, on a $350,000 home, it's like 60 grand is the cost of waiting 1 year. If you take a look at the appreciation and the likely higher interest rate. So it's a big deal.
Well, and then add on the opportunity cost of a year's worth of appreciation you missed.
Yes. Appreciation. You've got your principal buy down. Rents double every 20 years. So the rent that you're paying $2,000 a month now in 20 years is going to be $4,000 a month, where your principal and interest payment won't change for 30 years if it's a 30-year fixed mortgage. So that's number one on the list. Number two on the list, mortgages are still really good. People get a little worked up when they've been paying 3% interest rates for a couple years, and now they're closer to what, 5?
Yeah.
A little bit before.
Yep.
5, a little bit before.
5 right now.
The reality is 5 and under, folks, is a really good interest rate. The average 40-year fixed interest rate is 8.25%. So if you take a look at the last 40 years, the average rate is 8.25%. We're at 5. That's still a really good rate.
Yep. You want to guess what it was in 2000, the year 2000, what the average 30-year fixed was?
8.5%.
Big guess, Steve. Remember?
9.
9. Want to take a guess, Jackie?
10.
Close, like 775.
775.
Was the average for the year of 2000 if you take, that the entire average for the entire year. So 775 in the year 2000, which was not that long ago.
Nope.
We're sitting at 5 today.
Yep. Which is good.
Pretty attractive.
And then there's ARM products that we're going to talk about next week on the show. Some different ARM products, or they're not called that anymore. They're called
the hybrid fix.
hybrid. So they're called
Love that
hybrid.
term.
Yeah.
Love that term.
I'm like,
Everyone's
hey,
hybrid.
I'm like, ARM's coming back, and Mike's like, no, there's no more ARMs, but there's hybrid fix. I'm like, well, isn't that the same as an ARM? Yeah, but that's not what it's called anymore.
Well, the ARM's got a bad name back in the crash, right?
Yes.
Everyone blames it. Like, so I sent an email out yesterday to the team that you guys saw about adjustable rate mortgages, and I even got a couple emails back like, oh, the ARMs caused the whole bubble back then.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it wasn't adjustable rate mortgages that caused that.
Right.
It was either A, people not understanding how they worked.
Yeah.
B, loan officers not explaining them correctly on how they work. So then the customer doesn't know how they work and they get themselves in trouble. Like ARM products were not the issue.
Right.
It was not understanding or not getting them explained
Right.
very correctly is what the issue was.
And there was negative AM products back then. World Savings was a bank that offered a 1.9% interest rate, but then but you're adding to the principal every month.
Your payment was based on a 1.9% interest
Yes.
rate, but your actual interest rate you're paying was 6%.
Yep.
So when you make it's like a credit card minimum payment. If you make your minimum credit card payment, you'll never pay the thing off.
Yep.
And that's the same way basically that mortgage was like, hey, we can give you a super low payment that's manageable, but now the difference between your 1.9% interest rate and your actual 6% that you're paying, right, gets tacked on top of the principal every single month. And so your loan balance actually goes up versus down.
Isn't that insane? I mean, it's so wild that product was available back then.
But but then the loan officers saying it's like, oh yeah, your rate's 1.9 and here's your payment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the conversation stopped there.
Forever.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Literally forever. You'll never pay that thing off. So that was the problem there. It was just people didn't understand how they worked and they weren't explained correctly. And so then, obviously if you don't know how it works, you get in trouble. And
Yeah.
we all know what happened from there.
We got the phone lines open, folks. If you'd like to win a pair of tickets to a Timberwolves game, a playoff game on Tuesday, give us a call with your real estate question. 651-647-2910 is the call-in number. Give us a call this morning at 651-647-2910 to win Timberwolves tickets, anything and everything real estate related. You can also text your questions to 763-443-5664 is the text line. Text your questions to 763-443-5664. All right, I'm going to go through these quickly because, Jackie, I want to talk to you about what you have going on. It's exciting. And you're not nervous because we talked about this
Not
before
at
the
all.
show.
Nope.
It's good to talk about if you're nervous. I feel like it relieve some of the nerves.
Yeah,
Is that
I agree.
accurate? Yeah.
Yep.
it does. All right. Number 3, you can save on taxes. Number 4, it will be yours. You're buying the property. We're renting. You are simply, well, you're buying it for the landlord. Number 5, you can get better homes. It talks about that there's more homes for sale. Even though we have a historically low inventory right now, there's still more homes for sale than there are for rent. A lot of those are newer than the homes that are for rent, and there's more of them. Number 6, it offers some inflation protection. Number 7, it's risk capital. This is talking about if the economy picks up, you stand to benefit from that, even if your goal is just to have a nice place to live. Number 8, it's forced savings. A portion of your payment every month goes to pay down that mortgage, that principal balance, which increases your equity. Number 9, there are more homes to buy than to rent. We talked about that. And number 10, you get to work with Minnesota Real Estate Team and Michael Overson. Those are the top 10 reasons to
That's
buy
the
in
best one.
2022.
Might want to flip that one
I'm
to
just
number one, maybe,
I'm just
or
going to
no.
move that up to number 1. You get to work with Mortgage Michael Overson.
Is 10 better than 1, or is 1 better than 10?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. I don't know. I think you put it at number 1 and number 10.
Begin and end with it.
Yep.
Begin and end with it.
That's my suggestion.
All right, folks, we got the phone lines open. We'd love to hear from you this morning. Give us a call with your questions, 651-647-2910. The call-in number to the studio again is 651-647-2910. The text line to win Timberwolves tickets for Tuesday's playoff game is 763-443-5664. 763-443-5664. Jackie Tavis. I'm glad that I asked you how to pronounce that because it's not spelled that way.
Nope.
Flourish Wellness. Tell me a little bit about your company. When did you start it, and what do you guys specialize in?
Before we start, can I request that you do my name like you do Mike's?
Well, let's see here. Jackie Tavis. How's
Perfect.
that?
Thank you. Much better. Yeah. So I'll just give you a little background about me and Flourish and how that all came to be. So I was a nurse practitioner at Alina for about 8 years
Okay.
prior to opening Flourish. And while I was there, I just noticed a lot of gaps in the care that I was providing. So, for example, patients would come in and they didn't feel well, right? It could be a myriad of complaints, but they would come in and we would do a bunch of testing, a bunch of labs, and find that everything was normal, right? Like everything was fine, but they obviously didn't feel fine. And so that for me was, I like to have a reason. Like I have a reason for things. I need to have answers.
Mhm.
So it didn't sit very well. The other thing I noticed a lot, I found myself doing, which I wasn't super thrilled about, is just throwing medications at people a lot of times for what they came in for and not really actually fixing the problems. It wasn't super helpful. In fact, it just brought them back and basically put on more medications, right? Because of side effects or whatever was happening. And so it got me thinking and looking into what was actually going on in healthcare. And it's really truly what I found stems back to medical school, right? So I didn't realize this when I was going through it, but when you go to medical school, you're truly taught the practice of medicine, of medication, right? So we're taught to diagnose what is the problem, how do we find that out, and then what medication do you use to fix that problem or to address that problem. And we weren't taught about wellness or how do you prevent those things from happening? How do you keep your body healthy even as you age and prevent those diseases? And our bodies are remarkable, right? God made our bodies to heal and to function like they should, as long as we're taking care of them and we're doing the right things for them. So that kind of made me dig into healthcare, like what is going on in our healthcare system and how should it be? And how can we really focus more on wellness and health and preventing disease versus just fixing something after it's already broken?
Treating the symptom. And I do, it's interesting. My mom has always kind of felt that, she'd gone to the doctor over the years that, well, let's try this medication or, and she said, I feel like I'm just like a test subject. Like, well, let's try this out and try this. And
Throwing darts.
Yeah. And so I think you make a great point. It's, I'm not a fan of medication in general. I think that there's a place for it and I think that it can be helpful.
Absolutely.
But I think that as a country, we are way over medicated. And I think that wellness needs more attention. because I agree with a lot of what you're saying.
Yeah. Fascinating thing. I think, don't quote my stats, but last time I was looking into this, I think people over the age of 40 are on a minimum of 3 prescriptions or more, which is crazy, right? Like you would think that you shouldn't be on any.
Right.
Right. I mean, that's not that old,
Isn't
No.
40
No.
the new 20?
right? Yeah.
You will be after you see me.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, so fast forward, I opened Flourish about a year ago, coming up in July, which seems wild. It's been that long. But what I find is I think patients are drawn to me who want to live more in that wellness model, right? Like, how do I prevent illness and how do I avoid medications and kind of that traditional model that we see. And a lot of people come in with similar complaints that I was also hearing at Alina, but things that I couldn't really address or fix or take care of.
Like examples of.
Yep.
Yeah.
So feeling really tired, having, low energy or just not like brain fog is a big one. Like I just, my brain doesn't work like it used to, or I'm not as sharp as I used to be, or concentration. Other things.
You look at Orson, like Jason.
Yeah, like Jason. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, brain fog. Yeah, that's how they describe Jason. Yeah, lately. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Maybe
my
you should come
nickname
see
in
me.
high school.
Sleep's another huge one that I hear a lot, whether it's a hard time falling asleep, staying asleep, or just not feeling like you got a lot of sleep, even though you're sleeping. Weight gain, right? That's a big one, especially as people get older. They're like, I don't do anything different. I still work out or not. I still eat what I eat, but things are changing. Like my body composition's changing, right? Doesn't look the same, doesn't feel the same. Moods are a big one that I see a lot. And I think a lot of people are afraid of that. Like they don't want to be labeled with anxiety or depression or those kinds of things. But most of the time, it's not that. It's stemming from other things that are treatable, and it's not your fault. You're not crazy.
Right.
It's just what's
Maybe a
happening in
little.
your body
Maybe a little.
sometimes. So usually what I find is that these symptoms really stem from imbalances, whether that's hormonal, whether that's nutrient or vitamin issues that you have that we're just not paying attention to and we're not checking. Hormones are actually really the foundation of how our bodies work. Okay. So estrogen and testosterone each have over 400 functions in the body. Most people don't know that.
Wow.
No,
No idea.
I thought it was one.
Right.
Yeah. So obviously, we all think about testosterone and libido, testosterone and sexual function, testosterone and muscle mass, right? Those, weightlifting and all those things. But it also helps with things like keeping your cholesterol in check, keeping your insulin levels in check, helps prevent Alzheimer's and dementia. For women, it can be breast cancer preventative. So and yes, women have testosterone also, in case you didn't know that. So there's a lot of things that it does that most people don't realize that it's doing. We talked a little bit about that, but underlying things like protecting your bones, your brain, your heart, all of those things, but it's also those things that are responsible for that poor sleep, for that moodiness, that irritability, the brain fog, low energy. And I think we can all agree that in our society, our culture, we tend to see people get sicker as they get older, right? Is that a fair statement?
Yep.
And so if you think about that logically, what's happening? Our hormones are falling, right? And we're getting sicker. It's because really our hormones are that foundation that's protecting us and helping prevent disease.
Remind me
fascinating.
when I came to you and we went through this discussion, was it after 35 in general, men stop producing new
Yep,
and you basically are living off of what you had?
exactly. So for example, I think pretty much everyone out there knows about menopause, right? Women get a bad rap for menopause and what it does to us, and it's not our fault, but yes, it happens. And usually, somewhere between 40 and 55 for women, 60. There's also something called andropause. So andropause is when your body stops making testosterone. So menopause, women stop producing estrogen. Whatever they have left is what they have, and then it gets less and less every year thereafter. So the same thing happens with testosterone, but it happens much earlier. So for women, we go through andropause in our mid to upper 20s, and then for men in their mid to upper 30s. Yeah.
That's fascinating. And so, like, give me an example of the change or the difference in, from 35 to 45. Is there a range or an example?
Like number wise, you mean?
Yeah, number wise.
So this is also fascinating. And I didn't realize this until I started checking levels a lot. But what I see most of the time happening is my 30 to 50-year-old men tend to be somewhere in the 3 to 400s, sometimes lower, a lot of times even in the 100 and 200s.
Okay.
And in my 60 and 70-year-old men in the 500s.
Really?
So now do you want to ask me why?
I would like to know why. Yes, I would.
All right. So why is that? And really what we find, we all know this, like we've all heard of all the toxins that we're exposed to, right? In the air, in our laundry detergent, in the things we put on in our bodies, in our foods. So we have a lot of exposure to what are called endocrine disruptors or hormone disruptors or hormone mimickers. So all hormones work as a lock and a key. Okay. Your body releases that hormone, which is the key. It attaches to the receptor, which is the lock, and it turns the lock and causes whatever's supposed to happen. However, when we have those endocrine disruptors or those hormone mimickers, they attach to that receptor. They turn the receptor. They basically trick your body into thinking it's the hormone. And so then your body stops making as much. So my 30, 40, 50-year-old men who have had a lot longer exposure to these things, like my older men, our products weren't as disrupting as they are now. And so that's what I'm finding. And that's really what I have to chalk it up to is our exposures. And now our men are the levels are much lower, much sooner than they should be, which then leads to more health issues and disease processes as they age.
That is fascinating.
The extreme version of this is the bodybuilders who then stunt their testosterone output from taking testosterone and lots of it.
Yep. And that, there's a fine line between that kind of testosterone, right? And how do you replace that in a healthy way for what your body's actually needing versus some of the other ways of misusing testosterone.
It's not about need. I want all the testosterone. just all of it. Go for it.
So one of the big learnings for me that I think kind of ties into your question when you're asking about what are the numbers, right, or the age difference. But one of the big ahas for me was if I go to a general practitioner and get my blood work done or whatever, and they happen to look at that, the answer will come back, you're in the normal range. But the normal range is just looking at the population out there of everybody else my age at that same point in life. So what's normal versus what Jackie is helping to do is get back to optimal.
Right.
And there's a big difference between the two. So to go in and have a doc tell you, well, yep, your levels are normal doesn't necessarily mean you're where you could be and where you should be to feel better.
Because that number is coming from a sample size of,
it's a bell curve distribution.
Right.
And as long as you fall somewhere in that bell curve, you're in the normal.
So how do you determine, Steve, for example, how do you determine what his normal level should be or what my normal level should be? Is it blood tests or how do you determine
That's a great question. Can I back up really quick and kind of explain more about what Steve was saying? So that normal range, so when you go to the doctor and they check cholesterol or they check your vitamin D or whatever it is they're checking, that normal range is just a 95% confidence interval. Okay, so whatever lab that your test is going to, they pool hundreds of thousands of labs for men your age or women or whoever they're checking. And they say, where do 95% of people fall? That's the low and that's the high. And that's your normal, right? So those people, if we're checking their thyroid, could have a thyroid issue, right? So you're not even being compared to potentially other people who are normal, okay? So it's a little misleading, and you have to really understand how to look at those labs, how to interpret them to understand what it should be. So when we talk about optimal, there's a couple things. Number one, we get those optimal levels from hundreds of years of research. Like, this isn't a new thing, okay? Hormone therapy has been over 80 years. It's been it's not new. So that's where we kind of get that starting line as far as what do we think optimal is. But ultimately, your optimal Steve's optimal, all of your optimals are going to be different, right? And so how do we find that? We find that by basing it off of symptoms.
Okay.
Okay. So when people come in, we'll start with a pretty extensive lab panel that doesn't just check hormones. We check a lot of different things because a lot of times what our hormones do also overlap with what I was saying, our cholesterol and our diabetes and maybe an adrenal issue. So we look at the whole picture and try and figure out, okay, what's truly causing all of this? And then what do we need to treat it? Once we treat that, we know what your optimal needs to be by where your symptoms at. And so it might be different. It might be lower than what I would tell you that optimal maybe should be, or it might be higher. But we really have to go off of symptoms, not just treating a piece of paper.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if the normal level is, what would be the normal level?
So this is also interesting, right? So going back to what I was saying about how that 95% confidence interval and how that's changing, and I see it lower, right? In my younger men that I see, I literally have seen that normal range change. So it'll tell us on the lab results when you get them back. You can always look at your labs. There'll be a little asterisk that says, note, reference interval has changed. And I have literally watched that normal range change from 300, 400 to 900 to now it's down in the 200s to 900 because we're having more exposure and 95% of people are falling lower and lower and lower. So that's the new normal, but that's not what it needs to be or what it should be for your health.
So do you go back to say, all right, at age 25 or whatever that age might be, like you were probably at this level back then and that's where you should be and that's where you try to get them to?
That'd be awesome if I had their labs from age 25, right?
This is why it's important to come in and actually get these tests so you can start establishing that long-term picture.
Yep, for sure. And see how quickly you're dropping off. Like how much are you losing each year? And there are other things, there are things you can do to raise that. So your hormones do fluctuate a little bit. For women, the most I see on average is maybe 20 to 40 points. For men, maybe 200. Like there are different supplements and like working out and things like that can make it go up a little bit. The most I see is 100 to 200 points. And so if you're someone who, that optimal, kind of the generally optimal, what we shoot for is somewhere between 900 and 1100 for men. And so if you're someone who is 300, right, you maybe can get up to 5, but you're still not optimal. And when I say optimal there's someone in the door. Hi. When I say optimal, we're really that low number, that 900 is the minimum that we see as far as brain protection and Alzheimer's and dementia prevention and protection. And so that's really what we're shooting for. Yes, how you're feeling, but then also what those things that I mentioned that your testosterone's doing that you don't feel and you don't know to help prevent disease.
Folks, we got the phone lines open. It's 651-6. Where's it at, Evan?
647-2910. That's 651-647-2910 if you've got a call on question. Or if you want to text us, 763-443-5664. That's 763-443-5664 for your text questions to win a pair of Timberwolves tickets for Tuesday.
Evan's always bailing me out. Thank you, Evan.
Yeah, no problem.
And that's playoff tickets, right?
Playoff tickets, man.
Playoffs?
Play,
Are we gonna keep doing the
Got
playoffs
playoffs.
thing?
Is it play off or
absolutely.
play in?
It wears me down.
Well,
I think it's a
so
play-in.
Rob was trying to look that up.
Yeah.
I think they got to do the play in
They have
before
to.
they actually make the playoffs.
So they do have to play in. I thought they might have been.
Did they make the playoff?
No, last I saw, they're still sitting in the 7th seed or something. So 7 through 10 do the play in to become the final 2 teams of 8 in the playoffs.
What do you think their testosterone levels are, NBA players?
I would love someone to come in so I can
Wouldn't
check
that be
it.
fun?
Yeah.
To see?
So if I
For
came,
sure.
Jackie, if I came to you and said, typically I'm only 3% body fat. I'm squatting about 600 pounds right now, maybe closer to 12 and maybe squatting 200. What are you going to do for me there so I can get back to my 3% 600 pound squat?
Yeah. I pretty much start with I pretty much start with labs for everyone, right? Again, we don't just treat it the paperwork or the lab work, but we have to know where you're at, because otherwise I don't have a guide. That's kind of our guide, our baseline, as far as figuring out where you're at and where should you be, right? And then treating you. It's kind of like a lot of times people will come in and they have a thyroid issue and they tell they tell me, I've had my thyroid checked lots of times and it's always normal, it's always fine, right? But they still have the symptoms. So if your symptoms don't match up with the labs that we're seeing, it's not normal. It's not your normal. So it's getting you somewhere in that number, but then you have to tell me, are you back up to squatting what you want to be squatting?
How many people come in and see you that maybe don't need it? Like is that a small
Yeah.
percentage?
And I mean, okay, you have to think about that too, because the people who are coming in and scheduling visits with me they have symptoms, right?
Right.
So most of it's like going to the doctor if you're not sick and it's not a well visit, you're like, eh.
That makes sense.
You know?
Yeah.
So a lot of I would say maybe 5% of people that come in actually have optimal hormone levels, and then there's usually something else going on.
Gotcha. Interesting.
So, Steve, tell us. I'd love for you to share your experience, because you've been working with Jackie since January, and so it's fascinating. I mean, it's very fascinating. I was telling you guys all before the show started. I had a friend of mine call me yesterday, and he was sharing with me the same experience that you've gone through. He started his a week ago. But tell us a little bit about the process and what you did and how you're feeling. And
Well, yeah. So I think, probably the important starter for me is what would have actually gotten me to get up and go, right? I mean, I've realized for years that I've not been feeling as good, right? Tired. A lot of things that turn out to be related to testosterone would be things that I would never have even guessed. The mental clarity thing has definitely become more of an issue for me the last handful of years. I attributed that to too many years of football and the things I've gone through there, which is also true.
yeah,
But, it basically came down to the experience of a good friend of mine growing up doing the process and speaking to me about it that drew me to go check it out for myself. Otherwise, I probably would never have, if I didn't have somebody I trust
Sure.
that had done it, I
Yeah.
would probably have never done it either.
yeah.
So start the process, the blood work, like she said, she takes like a quart and a half because she
Steve may have
runs.
passed out. No.
Yeah, I was a little woozy, but they run so many tests or whatever. So right, so you get the blood test, you get the results.
How long does that take from test to getting the results?
About a week.
About a week. Okay.
About a week. Then she, from the results and my body size or whatever, she came up with the number of pellets. So we haven't really talked about the pelleting process itself, but that's what we do here, right?
Yeah.
So she, makes a small incision in a cheek and stuffs them in there. But it she numbs it up. It didn't hurt at all.
Yeah.
Didn't hurt at all. And I would say within a pretty short amount of time, there are some things that I could say I felt, immediately probably felt more energy and started to sleep better. And I don't know, you tell me, is the mental clarity any better for me than it was?
Oh, I think so.
Do you think so? You think I'm a little sharper?
I
I
think-
only go one way.
Yeah, right. I was pretty much at the bottom, so there was nowhere to go but up.
No, I mean, I would say definitely mental clarity. I've seen improvement with you, and just in mood stuff too. And
Oh.
I mean,
You telling
just
me I was in a bad mood all the time?
no, but you're just in a better mood now.
Oh, I thought you were
You're in
going
good
to say
mood.
that he's in a bad mood now. Now you're aware of everything
No.
that's bad going around you, and they're all mad.
But and another thing that we haven't really touched on that she's been educating me on is it's not like a light switch, right? I'm on a journey. I'm in a process, and there's a different timeline for some of the different effects. So I would say, yeah, right away the energy levels and better quality sleep kicked in pretty quickly. Maybe some additional energy in some other areas were pretty immediate.
Yeah.
But and I've been able to work out a little bit more. My things don't hurt as much as they used to. I've
Okay.
got a lot of joint aches and pains
Yeah.
and stuff, which makes you not want to work out
Right.
because everything hurts. So I mean, I've definitely am working out harder than I was, which maybe is helping me move some weight around in my body and put
Yeah.
it back to where I want it and not where it's been hanging. But a lot of it is not. It's not a light switch, right?
Right,
I'm on a.
right.
I think she says I'm on a 2-year journey that I'm going to have to stick with it and dedicate to it to really achieve all the results I want to. I think one of the surprising ones that she's mentioned, and maybe she can speak to this a little too, on as to how we get there. One of her goals for me is to get off of high blood pressure medicine. Which there again, how the heck does testosterone do that for me? But that would be a great thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had high blood pressure issues since my early 40s, and I would love the opportunity to get off those meds.
So are you stronger? You feel like you're stronger because you've been working out more and less aches and pains.
I have achieved gains
Yep.
to getting back to what I used to be able to do. I'm sure directly related to the fact that I'm doing it.
Right. Right.
But that I'm doing it because I feel better. I have more energy. I have less aches and pains that I'm actually motivated to go and do it too.
Right.
So it there's a little bit of a circular process
How
there.
about like your neck? Your neck feeling better? And
My neck does feel so. I've got a lot of football. I have 2 neck surgeries in. I've got a fusion from C5 to C7, which resulted in chronic migraines and things for me. But the weaker I got, the less I wanted to do anything, the worse the problem got. And this same way, right? The more I get out and do and try to work those muscles to the best I can, I've got permanent nerve damage and some of my muscles don't fire and develop like they used to anymore. But I have definitely strengthened that area.
yeah.
And that leads to not having as many migraines and sleep issues and things like that. So yeah, it all kind of builds on itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Folks, we've got the phone lines open. If you'd like to call with questions, we'd love to hear from you. 651-647-2910 is the call-in number. Anything and everything real estate related, health related. We're talking about testosterone. We are answering your health and wellness questions. Give us a call at 651-647-2910 is the call-in number. Again, give us a call. Studio lines are open at 651-647-2910. You can also text your questions. We're giving away a pair of tickets to the Timberwolves game on Tuesday, a playoff game. For the best question this morning, you can text your questions to 763-443-5664. The text line again, 763-443-5664.
We had a Facebook question that came in. It said, do you test growth hormone too? And if so, what is the optimal range for IGF-1 levels for a 36-year-old female?
See, that's what I was about to ask. It's actually up there on the screen right
There
behind
we
me.
That's
go.
my wife,
It is.
Does she go by Liz?
Liz. Yeah.
Hi, Liz. So I typically do not start there. That's not usually something I start with. And the reason for that is what I've found and what research-wise is the growth hormone, treating that and getting into that piece can actually have more significant side effects. And so that's why, I'm a pretty conservative practitioner, provider. So, as far as not wanting to give medications, and I also want to make sure that the treatments that we have are safe and you're not going to have, side effects from using those. So that's usually why I don't dig in there if that's something that we need to, because things aren't going like they should be, or you're not feeling like you should, or you're not getting to where you should be, possibly, but it's not usually where we start.
And when you do the blood tests, what are you testing? Like, what are all the different things that you're testing?
We test a lot, right?
Okay.
So we'll do obviously your basic stuff, your liver, kidneys, electrolytes, all your different blood counts, which those labs in general tell us a lot. It tells us about your adrenals, your cortisol. It tells us about your gut, how your gut's working, how your body's detoxing. If you have any underlying things like viral or bacterial infections that your body hasn't fought and that are just kind of draining your system or causing inflammation. We check parasites is another one that it checks for, which
How often does that come back positive?
you guys would be surprised,
Really?
right? So we all probably have parasites, right?
Yeah.
Like if you ever have eaten fruits and vegetables that aren't washed, if you have pets, if you walk outside barefoot, if you swim in lake, like they're everywhere, right? It's just a matter of, are they causing a problem in your body?
Yeah.
Well, that was creepy.
We never talked about that, did we?
No more swimming in the lake.
That whole list, I was like,
Yep.
Yeah.
do
No
that.
more walking around the backyard barefoot.
Right?
Overson, you got a big worm growing in you.
More than like
Overson
That's why I can
is the
eat
big-
like
Yeah, I was going to
5,000
say,
calories a
I
day,
would
and,
guess
like,
that you've got tapeworm that you feed.
I literally eat 6-7 times a day.
What's your calorie intake per day?
I haven't calculated a while. I mean, but I literally I eat it's like every 3 hours I'm eating.
Yeah, you are eating all the time.
I
But you eat healthy,
I
though.
hope
Eat
to get
healthy.
back to that. I used to be able to eat anything I wanted and it didn't matter. And now I look at a burger and I've gained 5 pounds.
So speaking of ingesting bad things, we got a text question from Sarah. She's asking, what are hormone disruptors? Specific examples of them. I understand what they are, but how do you avoid them?
That's a very good question. And it's honestly, very, very difficult because they're everywhere, right? So all the things you've heard of, like the GMOs and the phthalates and the parabens, all those things are hormone disruptors. If you stop by the clinic, I'm sorry, was it Sarah?
Yes.
If you stop by the clinic, Sarah, I literally have a little card that I'll give out to people. They can go home and look at their products and figure out like what things in this do I need to get rid of. Candles, for example, burning candles is another one of those things. We don't even think about it, right? We just do it because that's normal. So how do you get rid of them? You'll never be able to completely get rid of them, right? But it's those long-term exposures over time. Like I was saying, my younger men, because of the length of exposure to these things that they've had, their levels are much lower. So it's really trying to mitigate the exposure. You're still going to have some. It can't be completely nothing, but doing your best to bring those down.
So would you say like drinking water out of like an actual glass, like a glass versus a plastic cup?
Absolutely.
Eating cereal out of a porcelain bowl versus a plastic
Yep.
bowl?
Plastics are
something like that?
huge. Yeah, absolutely. Even water, right? Like when we talk about the parasite thing, a lot of our water, even if it's filtered, if you don't have a reverse osmosis filter, it's not filtering for parasites. So you go get your fridge water, probably have them there.
What about bottled water? It's in plastic.
Yeah. Not good.
Yeah, you're just like, it's great that it's filtered and stuff, but it's still in a plastic bottle.
Yep.
Is that the kind of
Yep.
deal? Okay, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, the plastic stuff. So my wife Liz has been switching over to a lot of aluminum containers and glass containers, and for the kids and their their lunches and stuff, and getting rid of the plastic, and because it's not good for you.
Absolutely.
And we're exposed more to more toxins than ever before in history,
Absolutely.
right?
Sarah had a follow-up question, which is a real layup. What's your contact info? How do people come in and get tested and so on?
That's a great question. So our phone number is, I feel like I should give this to you because you're really good at phone numbers. 952-208-7029. Should I repeat that?
Yeah.
952-208-7029. You can also go on our website, and it's just flourishmedicalwellness.com. There's a little schedule tab up at the top. You can click on that, or there's a way for just to send us questions if you have inquiries or you just want to know more. You can also do that.
Your wife corrected you. Stainless steel, not aluminum.
Oh,
Jason, come on.
see, that's why she's in charge of that. Because I would buy the wrong stuff.
I got it right there, right? 952-208-7029.
Perfect. Yep.
Sweet. So yeah, if you're watching on the Facebook or you're not able to remember right now in the car, you can go to the Minnesota Home Talk Facebook page. You can like, subscribe, etc., and go to the end of the show, and you'll see right here, Flourish Medical Wellness right there at the bottom.
And Jackie, you're located in
Prior Lake.
Prior Lake. Okay,
Yeah,
excellent.
we're right on the corner of 13 and 42. So Prior Lake Savage.
Oh yeah, right by our office.
Yeah.
It makes it convenient.
Right behind the liquor store.
Yes.
Talking about things to avoid.
So, Steve, back to you real quick. We've got a couple minutes left in the show. So you're on this 2-year projected journey. You went in January. You got 1,100 pellets injected.
11.
Oh, 11.
A little bit of a different. I got a big butt, but man, that cheek would be huge if she stuffed
Oh my
1,100 in there.
So when do you have to go in again? Or what happens to the pellets? Or
They dissolve,
Okay.
so it's a continuous, constant dose instead of doing injections or pills, which will give me a sudden boost of peak amounts, and then that comes down. This gives me a constant dose, and the process lasts 6 months.
okay.
So I did my first pelleting in January, so I guess I'll do my next one in July.
So then you'll test him in June or right before that to test all the levels and then determine how many pellets to do in the second round.
Yep. So I'll kind of explain that a little bit. So 2 things. Number 1, not all hormones are created equal. Okay. And if people are listening and they really want to know more, that's one thing that you have to take away from this, because synthetic hormones are not the same as bioidentical hormones. And that is where I think hormones a lot of times get a bad rap, because they have this history of causing things like heart attack or liver disease or strokes or things like that. And that is more common, or it can happen when you're having synthetic hormones. When we're using bioidentical hormones, which is what I do, you don't have those risks, because all we're doing is putting back in your identical testosterone or estrogen, whatever that is, that your body's no longer making. And so that's why we don't see those risks, those side effects. And so as far as dosing, because we're using pellets, most of the time what happens is it's all based on cardiac output. So we insert those under the skin. They literally dissolve completely over time. But as your heart is pumping blood past those pellets all day at the same rate, right? Like your body, your heart just stays the same. Those are dissolving steadily at a constant rate. And so that level, like Steve was saying, just stays steady, stays at that optimal range until they completely dissolve. So because your cardiac output doesn't change, your dose is going to stay the same.
Okay.
We don't adjust your dose. We know, we do blood work that initial, we follow up. Once with that 4 weeks, we know where the full absorption is. And then after that, we know, okay, do we need to give you more? Do we need to give you less? But that is your dose, because your cardiac output doesn't change.
Jackie, quick question. We got another texter here right before the end of the show. In addition to these, hormone checkups and stuff, does your clinic offer any other services, or is this your main thing?
We do everything. So I still see patients for primary care, like doing well visits, physicals, that kind of thing. I see kids still. I took off some skin cancer. We do whatever.
I love it. I love it, folks. Best way to get a hold of Jackie Tavis is to, you can go to our website, minnesotahometalk.com, ship us or send us a direct message, or Jackie, they can call you again at
952-208-7029.
Folks, we appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to check out our website, minnesotahometalk.com. Thank you, and have a great week.